feel very anxious. And so you want to follow up on that.
Okay. What's a code type?
A code type, let me think of how to explain this very, very simply. So the main scales, and I keep referring to scales, these are just the main scores that come up on this test. We can refer to them as codes. And when I was saying that Ms. Hurd's scores could be compared to certain groups of people that had been researched before to obtain similar scores, the research has shown that certain people
Not a problem.
that can spike on us, okay? And so all of those traits that I described,
Gravity rounds are dangerously
those are traits
unintegrated,
that are
dangerous
found in
alien
these code
technology.
types. So it means that score number two was high, and score number 6 was high. And so if we have those two scores were both high, then that's a
Welcome to
2-6
Summoner's
code type.
Rift.
And these code types,
What code type is
Step
Ms.
2.
Hurd had the clearest code type was 3-6, but then
30
she
seconds
also
until
had
minions
some
spawn.
other code types that were less significant.
What characteristics are associated with a 3-6 code type?
So a 3-6 code type, a lot of that anger is
Don't
expressed
get
in this
cocky.
code type. There can be actually a lot of cruelty, usually with people who are less powerful. Actually, when you see this code type, you want to, if you can,
Minions
to
have
follow up
spawned.
with subordinates, co-workers, people who may have observed their behavior more closely. The 3-6 code type is very concerned with their image, very
Set
attention-seeking.
sail.
Very prone to externalizing blame to a point where it's unclear whether they can even admit to themselves in certain areas.
I know what I'm doing.
Suppressed and denied anger. The anger is very present. They're having a lot of issues in their relationships.
Make this code type fitting with your opinion on personality disorder?
I've got a good feeling about
First
this.
blood.
This might be unfortunately kind of discuss a little bit about personality disorders, because I think what you'll hear is that there's a lot of consistency there. So borderline personality disorder is a disorder of stability. It's instability, and it's instability in personal relationships, it's instability in their emotions, it's instability in their behavior, and it's instability in their sense of self. And that instability is really driven by this underlying.
You've got dangerous eyes. I
One of the
like
key
that.
features also of this disorder, and all of it is like systems of firing off and one another. But when somebody is afraid of being abandoned by their partner or anybody else in the environment, and they have this disorder, they're desperate attempts
Fun
to
begins.
prevent that from happening. And those desperate attempts could be physical aggression, it could be threatening, it could be harming themselves. But these are behaviors that are usually very extreme and very concerning to people around them.
Guns blazing.
The anger is typically, like, sadly, it's counteractive, right? So the thing that people fear most is being abandoned, but over time, the anger, the explosive anger that they show when somebody is needing space.
Nothing but
Because a lot of times
An enemy has been slain.
perceived as being a slight to them or being somebody intending to harm them when actually isn't happening. They'll exaggerate it, and they'll explode, they'll react in a heightened manner. That
No
will
prey,
force
no
themselves
pay.
or their partners. Oftentimes, their partners will try to make them happy at first and really allow themselves to be a punching bag, thinking that they can somehow solve this problem, that somehow they can make this better. And eventually, it's
Sure you can handle me, Summoner?
Histrionic personality disorder can really
Are you familiar with the term emotional reactivity?
I am. So emotional reactivity is very common in the diagnosis. So
Not a
essentially,
problem.
like I said, there's instability in emotions. People with borderline personality disorder are often misdiagnosed as having bipolar disorder because they can be up and down. They can look very depressed, then they can look very elated, but these changes are happening within a matter of hours. Somebody with bipolar
always-
disorder, clinical symptoms can be days, weeks, a clinical moment where sometimes they even need to be hospitalized because they're so grandiose. They clear out their bank account and go to Vegas and spend it all. They're acting as disorder. With borderline personality disorder, you're having these fluctuating moods constantly. And
Step
again,
two.
this being slighted or feeling offended, really driven by the fear that if you're offended or slighted, if the therapist comes in to say, or if somebody shows up to dinner 2 minutes late, that they might be abandoned.
Don't get cocky.
And it's not as if the borderline is
An ally has been slain.
that they just
An
feel
enemy
they
has
have
been
this
slain.
overwhelming emotion.
An enemy has been slain.
Control that emotion. There are no attempts to regulate it. So if they're in the middle of the restaurant and they feel offended, they're going to start the fight. People are going to see it,
Set
or they
sail.
might just go calm and go on, but they'll make a lot of accusations, and that reactivity is when you're going to see a lot of this escalation and the bizarre behavior. They can react violently, they can react aggressively, they can physically prevent their partner from using space and all of that. Oftentimes, they will be abusive to their partner in these situations.
You have slain an enemy.
And become independent.
begins.
It seems to be a predictive
ally has
factor
been
for women
slain.
to implement
Enemy killing spree.
and one of the most common tactics that they'll use is actually physically assaulting and then getting harmed themselves. But
I know what I'm doing.
essentially this is saying that they'll make up using legal systems. So they might say that they are going to file a restraining order or claim abuse, or they might do these things to actually try to keep their
An enemy has been slain.
moment. Again, they're not
Double
actually
kill.
thinking, "I'm gonna keep my partner from using right now."
Feeling about this.
I hate my partner. They went from idealizing to suddenly devaluing because of the hurt, and they'll do anything to express that big emotion of anger.
You've got dangerous eyes. I like that.
Turret plating will soon fall. Barriers exist to be broken.
Sure you can handle me, summoner? Not a problem.
Indicated, you were talking about emotional activity.
An enemy has been slain. Your team has destroyed the turret.
Records, so particularly Dr. Connors. I might get it. I feel like for some reason.
Step two.
But Dr. Cohen's records, I did reverse it. He actually refers to this reactivity quite a bit and to Ms. Heard's temper. And that temper, often around being hot-headed, is really
Don't get
characteristic
cocky.
of borderline personality disorder. as is their very charming personable nature. This is a disorder of contradiction. In Ms. Bilotti's notes, I thought there was something interesting. She
Set
references
sail.
a night when they're out to dinner, I believe in London, and she provided positive reinforcement to Ms. Hood because they were being disappointed by a mistake made by the server, and it criticized the server and
Nothing but powder.
and actually did this time, and so that had been. And there was also an indication, actually, in Dr. Hughes' appointed by Ms. Hurd to conduct an evaluation of that. In Ms. Hughes' interview with Ms. Hurd disclosed that she had cut her arm in the past, which is a typical reactive type thing somebody with this diagnosis can do. It's one of the symptoms. And that's sort of all I can think of top of my
I
mind.
know
from
what
treatment
I'm
records.
doing.
Moving into some of the declarations or deposition testimony, what struck me was Ms. Raquel Pennington's testimony. She's a former friend of Ms. Hurd's, and she indicated
I've got a
told a story
gut feeling
I
about
suppose They were
this.
shopping for Thanksgiving, and she had something to prepare for Thanksgiving, and Ms. Hurd struck her in the face, sort of out of the blue. That was interesting because that is one of those
I
signs
always.
that they want to disorder where if a friend or a loved one isn't meeting your needs in that moment,
Has been destroyed. Shut down.
You've got dangerous eyes. I like that.
An ally has been slain.
Sure you can handle me, summoner?
Your turret has been destroyed. An ally has been slain. Your team has destroyed a turret. Killing spree.
Step 2. The fun begins.
personality disorder, things are in these extremes, this black and white, we call it splitting. And so that person goes from being idealized, the perfect person, to dumpster. They are totally devalued, they are the worst friend, they don't care anything about me, there are people around me. And
Your team has
then
destroyed a
does get
turret.
remorseful after
An
they
ally
do
has been
that,
slain.
then angry, tell their friend. But over time, it wears away at these relationships. And so what you'll usually see is many transitions in their friendships over the years. People who have sort of fallen to the wayside, who were
Set
really
sail.
very close-knit.
An enemy has been slain.
There's not a lot of consistency in the long term. You'll also see that division. Many relationships, but none that are
How does
I know what I'm
relate to identity?
or identity. When I was describing personality earlier, I was talking a little bit about those traits we have that help us know who we are. When we have personality disorders, that actually is not something you understand. Spending time very uncomfortable to not know this disorder they describe as being when
You've got dangerous eyes and like
enmeshment phase, they often way. Now navigating this is really interest in life.
Sure you can handle me,
might change.
Summoner?
Hobbies will change, the way they dress.
In addition to borderline personality
An ally has been slain.
disorder, what's that?
So histrionic
An ally
personality
has been
disorder,
slain.
and these are really
Enemy
across
double
the
kill.
same coin. They belong to the same cluster. We call these clusters. It's a way to organize personality disorders in that DSM. And this cluster is described as the personality disorders that are dramatic, erratic, and
Your turret has been
so
destroyed.
unpredictable, but really having to do with they're very similar. Whereas I was saying that borderline personality disorder, a lot of the key features that you're going to notice are instability. When it comes to histrionic, a lot of the key features
Don't
are
get
going
cocky.
to drama and shallowness. With borderline personality disorder, there's this underlying drive of avoiding abandonment. With histrionic personality disorder, that underlying drive is
set
to
sail.
always be the center of attention. Because if you don't have that attention on you, it feels similarly to borderline personality disorder. You feel pretty empty, like you don't have that sense of being or value. Okay?
I know what I'm
Whereas
doing.
borderline personality disorder might have more of the visible reactivity.
An
if
enemy
somebody
has been slain. Dominating.
the center of attention, extreme efforts to be the center of attention.
An enemy has
If
been
they're not the
slain.
center of attention, you will see some strange things, making up stories to try to get attention, often taking on a big shifts of identity and splitting, you might see somebody go from being in the suddenly being the against
No praise, no pay.
Your team has destroyed a turret.
somebody very enthusiastic, but nothing's really been said. Your attention wears away.
You've got
because
dangerous
they're so
eyes.
that's when the sometimes those stories are just to make them look more interesting or accomplished in their mind so that they can get respect and attention that way.
Sure you can handle me, Summoner?
Histrionic personality disorder and attractiveness.
There is, strangely, and this is always one of the trickiest things.
An ally
to
has
talk
been
about
slain.
because how is that a symptom? But characteristically, people with this disorder are very, very interested in looks, but
Not
more
a problem.
importantly, they utilize their looks to get that attention, to get that respect that they're seeking. And so this type of anybody, characteristically, they actually couldn't even be subtly, and when I say flirtatious, I'm not talking overtly sexy, but
Step two.
flattering, sometimes
An enemy has been slain.
related to to sort of avoid getting negative feedback or criticism. Oftentimes they'll bring the therapist gifts or be
Don't get
distracting,
cocky.
if they engage in therapy, because they just don't want any criticism. They want their therapist to like them.
Disorders present.
Excuse me, I tripped a
Sail.
little bit better. Yes, and I think one way to think about it that's probably a little more accurate than just intelligence is, in psychology, we would describe this more as sophistication. Session, but it's so it's not tailored. It's so much easier to work with because of that just openness. And sometimes you'll have a more sophisticated presentation. There are no five have to be met. There are a lot of different where it really shows when you push the button.
Your team has destroyed a turret.
An
An ally has been slain.
you think they're
An enemy has been slain. An enemy has been slain. Your team has destroyed an inhibitor. Your enemy has destroyed a turret.
say something that they think is offensive, and even though